Last month, I was far away outside of this country. There's a prayer group, a team that I belong, and we needed to pray at night. They were holding somewhere in this nation, but I was not in the country. And I was so troubled in my spirit that I had to join them. And so while I prayed in my hotel room where I was, the Lord came to me and the Lord asked me 3 questions. And I think that is what we need to know now. He said, what was it that brought Baal upon our nation? You know, our brother was talking about the church rising to the place of authority so that we can set systems in order. If you don't know when your enemy took over your inheritance, how can you know and strategize how to collect it back? I couldn't answer that question. This was in a night. I said, Lord, help me answer this question. Just help me. It's concerning our nation. When did Baal take over? And he told me, go to 1977. What happened in 77? The bringing of the black civilization of Africa and all the gods of Africa into our nation, and we hosted them. Why I'm telling you this is that it is only in our secret places that we can receive the understanding that will strategically position you for the kinds of battle you will fight in this end time. May God give you the burden to stay somewhere in called your secret place. May he give you that burden. Begin to teach you to stay there. He started dealing with me concerning global issues and global happenings. And he said, I am still God over creation, and I'm still God over the nations. And he that sits in heaven is still above all. He still remains the Almighty. But he waits for men who will understand his ways so that he can give them his power. In 77, something happened in our nation, and that was Baal. He now asked me to go back to scripture and study about the pattern of Israel's fall, the pattern of national decline and national fall. I found out that there were 3 things that happened in Israel. Studying it that night, the Lord said, go back, come to your country. What happened? 3 things happened to Israel. Baal came in first, and that was the authority that jettisoned God. And when Baal came, God left. Once Baal came, the consort of Baal by the name of Ishtar. So Baal is the deity, the authority, the one that wants to hold the allegiance of the people and rule them. Baal is the extension of Lucifer himself. Okay, now after Baal came, the next thing Israel was introduced to was revelry, immorality, wandering like the wife of Gomer, and that was by Ishtar. They worship Ishtar. And once they went into that revelry, riotous living, and began to wander away from God, the next thing that happened to Israel fall was that what started with their fathers started getting to their children, and they started handing their children over to idol. And the next idol that came in after that was Molech. So that Baal, Ishtar, and Molech became the 3 powers that brought fall on Israel. Remember that the people of Israel were sacrificing their children to Molech in the valley of Ben Hinnom by the eastern part of Jerusalem, a large city dung, where they poured sulfur and brimstone to ensure the constancy of fire. That was a physical depiction of hell on earth. And that hell was where the children of the people of Israel were being thrown. And Molech made them depict hell on earth. A place that would have been created, a place created for God's inheritance, God's creation, God's image. Baal made them turn it into hell. And they were sacrificing their children to Molech. And the Lord asked me, in this sequence, how did it happen? The church was asleep, and in 77, Baal took over. In the process of this whole thing, Ishtar came in. How did Ishtar come? From the revolution of our music industry. Then, if you look at the pictures of the morality of the 70s and the morality of today, is there a striking difference? Are there striking differences? The striking differences were so much. The civilizations of the 70s, morality was still together. Sanity was found in morality. Now, the moment that happened, in the 80s, by the time they were hitting the 90s, Ishtar came in. Then there was a boom in the industry of entertainment, and the moral decadence became so obvious and came uncensored on images, videos, TVs, and everywhere. And that decadence became great. In the process of the decadence, death now came. People started dying. Children started dying because abortion was now normal. I thought that Nigeria was too peculiar for that. And the Lord said, go back to other nations of the world. I even saw that this same pattern happened in different nations of the world. And today, the spirits have returned. And the revival is needed the most. Now, God is saying, with this, what will happen? There must be a returning. I said, Lord, how then will you return? He said, when will my people wake up to understand that I am a God of times and seasons? Many times the Lord has made an attempt to return, but we didn't understand. I wouldn't point out the times. I want us to pray. But Jubilee happens every 50 years. And so the Lord struck something in my spirit. and said from 77, when you add 50 years, what will you have? What? 2027. So by 2027, we'll be 50 years post that bondage. He now asked me a question. What preparation is the church making so that by 2027, the church will have authority to install a leader that will lead her by 2027? Because in 2027, we're going to have an election again. And that will be our jubilee. The jubilee of that year. So as to have a liberation from the Baal, Ishtar, and Molech. And that is the return of God to our nation. Because we're talking about hosting God. For me, I'm talking about hosting God in Nigeria because currently, God is not being hosted in this country. He's hosted in places. He's hosted among certain remaining men, servants, hosted upon the nation. 2027 will be 50 years after, and that is a strategic moment.